And we are live. Sweet. It worked today for the first time.
Good.
All right. So welcome everybody. We will try to look at you guys and not at the computer or each other.
Okay.
So we
Where
are.
are we going?
So good afternoon, Chamber friends and members. We are excited to be here with our fourth Chamber Talk with Torrie podcast. Today's very exciting discussion. It's near and dear to my heart and what I do every day. And I know it is to Leslie as well with the growth we're seeing in Boardman and everything that's happening around here. This is a great discussion and it's going to be beneficial to everyone. If you're young and looking to buy, or you're older and you're looking to change, or you're moving into the area, it's a great discussion today. And so let's dive into today. So joining me today is Leslie Pierson, Realtor with Windermere Group 1. So
Yes.
Welcome.
Thanks so much, Torrie. This is awesome to be here. I appreciate the opportunity to give a little background and a quick update about the real estate that's going on here in Boardman.
Yes, so let's just hit some history about you. Let's learn a little bit more about you personally, and then your story and your journey to becoming a realtor.
Absolutely. So it's kind of an interesting background. I actually used to work primarily in agriculture. I'm from Southern Arizona, and I worked mostly with livestock operations in the dairy industry. And that afforded a lot of opportunities where I got to travel throughout the Southwest, and I was in sales and marketing. And eventually, agriculture brought me to Boardman for a job opportunity, and it's interesting enough that there wasn't enough housing here in Boardman when we relocated in 2015, and we had to rent in Hermiston. Couldn't find anywhere here, but working in Boardman and renting in Hermiston, so that's a common problem that we still face today.
Today, yes.
And I actually worked for 3 Mile Canyon Farms as a project manager out there and had a great experience, loved that opportunity, and eventually got into environmental compliance also and some other ag-related activities. So this is a perfect area for agriculture. It's another reason why our economy is so strong.
Absolutely.
So, but being a mom with 2 little kids, I really wanted to be working and living where my girls were going to school, and we realized Boardman was going to be a great fit. And I went ahead and decided to have a home built with Riverwood Homes at the time, and Art Kegler was my realtor, and we built in Tuscany, which is a growing community still now.
Absolutely.
And I just celebrated 5 years in that home.
That's exciting.
Yeah, and
time flies, doesn't it?
It's insane. So I decided to make the shift also to get into real estate because I saw an opportunity here in Boardman, and it provides more flexibility for me and my girls. So if I want to go to a school event or flex my schedule, and then it's just really neat to be a part of helping people and realize their American dream to find a home.
Absolutely. And you know, with here at the Chamber, we drive that whole work, live, and play thing where we are.
100%.
And we have so much opportunity for the play and the work, but we just got to fill that gap in that live part. So today's discussion will help us drive that conversation. So I'm excited. Yes. So, so current activity that's happening in Boardman, give us some highlights on that.
Okay. So I work primarily with new construction builders, and every builder is different, and they all offer unique features and developments throughout the community. If you've been a part of Boardman, you've seen the growth that's been substantial in the last few years, especially during the pandemic. We saw great rates and lots of people moving to the community, which is awesome. Another thing that's really exciting about our community is we have so many jobs. So the demand for housing is still very high here. However, we still actually have really low inventory.
We do.
Over the entire area. So new construction is a way to help fill in that gap when resale homes aren't available, and I'm happy to share that. The Tuscany neighborhood is still growing. It's in phase 3 right now, and there's a whole slew of new homes going there. They're being built by Top Quality Homes, and the neat thing about those homes is they're still a Riverwood kind of sister property. Those plans and those in that development are Riverwood plans, and you'll see Riverwood building in Idaho, Washington, and Oregon. But they have a different builder building them here in town. So there's that option. We also have River Ridge Estates by Woodhill Homes. Woodhill is based out of Bend, Oregon, and they build beautiful homes throughout the central region of the state. And it's great that they're offering their plans here.
Right.
And we finished 30 homes in phase 3 last year, and we're working on the next 31 right now.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So if you're new and you find a lot you like and the house hasn't been finished, are there options to custom it and changing it your way, or do you stuck with your plan?
It depends.
Okay.
The way that the market's shifted to right now, most of the homes are what we call spec homes.
Okay.
So it's in the builder's best interest to determine what home goes on what lot and then pick the interior finishes. Most of them are in a neutral color scheme to appeal to a broader range of buyers.
Yeah.
And then based on how the market is going, they'll list the home at a certain stage of construction.
Okay.
Now, occasionally there might be an opportunity if we're not built too far.
Okay.
The client can come in and pick some selection options or do some upgrades. Say they want landscaping in the backyard added, or if they want fencing or different features like that.
Different things like that. Okay, so there is options to that.
Yeah, we don't really have any pure custom build home opportunities at this stage of the game, but that could very well change.
Right. At any time.
Yeah.
And so you are working in Tuscany and River Ridge. And what's another one that you're working in right now?
The newest one that's coming to town, which has actually been in the works for many years. It's really exciting that it's the first master plan community in the area. And it's called the Tidewater Community Living Project. And that will include 96 townhome units plus 144 apartments. So that'll give buyers and residents the opportunity to either buy a property of their own and or lease an apartment. It's going to be in a beautiful complex within walking distance from the river. And it'll include beautiful green space, a clubhouse, pool, beautiful cabanas and hammocks, and just a really wonderful experience and lifestyle.
Inclusive type thing.
Amazing for Boardman. Yeah,
Right.
Amazing actually for our whole region, because I don't know of anything else that'll be like that.
Oh, that's exciting.
And eventually it'll include some commercial and retail space on site as well.
On site. That's amazing. So, what else we want to talk about? I have a list here of things that we were going to talk about. So current activity, is that all the current activity? Kind of details you want to give on that?
Yeah, and there's some other developments going on throughout the community as well. There's some more townhomes that are coming in that will be available for lease, is my understanding. Fratelli also builds home here in the Bailey Park subdivision. So they've got a blend of manufactured homes and or stick-built homes. So we do have a wide array of options with new construction. I know that housing and demand is really, really strong right now, and then renting options are also limited. So with this continued growth, hopefully that'll help fill the gap.
Right.
Otherwise, it's interesting to watch here just recently the ratio of new construction homes versus resale homes has actually flip-flopped now. So more resale homes are coming onto the market.
Why is that?
I'm not really sure why that is.
Interesting.
What that's happened, but it's giving buyers more options, some variety with homes that are already built, different lot sizes and things. But the price points are all about in the mid 350s is where we're averaging.
Okay. So we're still a little high on that, if you want to say affordable housing.
Yes,
a little high on the affordable side.
It's a real struggle to try to fill that gap.
Yeah.
To make it affordable for the buyers, but then also make it pencil for builders when they're working here.
Yeah, that is. That's interesting. Perfect. So, going into the purchase price, let's talk interest rates.
Yes. So that's a hot topic right now, and it's I know it's a bit of a gut punch for a lot of buyers, especially how we came through the pandemic. But one thing I want to keep where we are right now actually is in the low sixes, or what was it, 6.32 as of last week. And I know that can give people some heartburn after they saw the twos. Over the last couple of years. But our chief economist with the National Association of Realtors and other experts believe that over the next couple of weeks it may fluctuate just a little bit, but we shouldn't see it go above 7 again.
Okay.
And hopefully in the next few months it'll be closer to 6, and by the end of the year it'll be down in the 5s.
In the 5s. And so when you say 5, 6s, is that kind of an average where we were pre-COVID, pre-pandemic?
Yeah.
Kind of, are we getting back to the norms? Close to the norms?
So for anybody who's a brand new, like the millennial buyers and whatnot, they've not experienced 30 plus years of interest rates. But when you go back to when they first started collecting data in the 70s, the average over all that time frame is in the sevens.
Oh, okay.
So we're still below like the historical average rate. And I know that it's still really hard to swallow that pill, but you'll talk to people who remember in the 80s when it was 18%.
Right.
And,
Yes.
and that's rough. And in fact, I was just telling a coworker recently and read some news today that people are struggling. They're called rate locked.
Oh, yes.
Homeowners, where they're afraid to sell their home because they've got that good pandemic rate. And if they sell, then they're not sure they're going to be able to afford another home, and their interest rate's going to be higher. So I completely relate to that. In fact, I was telling somebody that I, even as a realtor, I could not take advantage of those amazing COVID rates because I had just started my real estate career and needed 2 years of commission income.
Yes.
And so I didn't even get to jump on that either. So I feel everybody's pain, that if you're not in those low twos, it's going to be okay.
Right. So perfect. So let's talk the inflation piece. Did we touch much on inflation? I don't think so.
Yeah, just real briefly, inflation helps drive what the interest rates are, and so inflation is dependent upon the cost of goods and services, and then we can get into the weeds with core inflation, which reduces or excludes the volatile items like food and utilities. But basically what's happened with the rates was the inflation was going too high, so they try to bring it down by increasing the mortgage rates to kind of settle out the economy. I think what was really rough is when the feds raised the rates so high so quickly. That was a major shock to the system, unfortunately. But I think they're leveling things out. And on the flip side though, like the inflation rates and whatnot are decent. We've got a lot of great jobs right now, so that helps drive some of those figures.
Okay. And when you're talking that, let's talk those millennial purchasers and stuff like that. How do you think we can get them to buy early instead of putting their money into a rental where they could be putting it into a home loan where they actually have something out of it?
Yeah, we often say very much whether you're renting or you're owning, you're paying a mortgage. You're either paying your own or somebody else's, and I know that can be a really scary situation. And I don't ever want to shame anybody who rents, because renting can be a really positive solution for somebody based on their current circumstances. So there's nothing wrong with renting. However, if you can get yourself into a position, there's so many benefits of owning a home and setting yourself up to build equity and potentially a legacy of wealth that can be passed down to family members. But what I like to share most with any buyer is, let's get you started sooner than later. I always recommend work with a realtor, because if you come into me and we can do a consultation, let me hear your story. What are you interested in? How soon do you need to move? What are your needs? And then we'll get you in touch with a lender, and that lender will help you build your financial story so that you're prepared when the time is right for you. There are so many steps that you can take right now to help set yourself up for success. So the sooner you get started, the better. And that means getting pre-approved, saving for down payments, for earnest money deposits, and working on your credit. And a lot of people just aren't aware of those things when they go to buy a home. So let me or another agent or a local lender help guide you through the process. That's what we love to do. It's incredibly rewarding. So it's a good place to start.
It is. And especially when a market that we have such a short inventory of houses, you really kind of got to be ready to pull that trigger when you find something that meets your needs. So being that ready and have all that stuff, and your purchase range, and what you need to look in, and living within that means of making that home payment and stuff like that.
Absolutely. And I think that really speaks to the point that right now thankfully it's not as crazy as it was during the pandemic. So we're not seeing multiple offers, and people aren't rushing into purchasing homes that they might have buyer's remorse for later. So take your time and strategize, and then work with an agent to negotiate some terms that work really well for you. In fact, this is something that's unique right now with new construction, is a lot of buyers don't understand that there are some opportunities to ask for special incentives, depending on what their needs might be.
Yeah.
So work with an agent to help understand what those opportunities might be. They might be able to help you with closing costs if you don't have cash on hand, or somehow to offset some of those other prices.
Yeah, so you mentioned closing costs. We, here at the chamber, we oversee the Boardman Community Development Association's home buyers incentive. So if you're new to the 97818 zip code and you're purchasing your first home, we do have a great incentive where we offer a $5,000 grant to either use towards closing costs, or after you close, you can get the $5,000 and invest it in your home however you feel the need to. So that's a great benefit. I've been to a couple conferences across the U.S. here over the last couple of months, and they talk housing incentives, and I tell them about our incentive, and they just look at me like, huh?
Right?
How do you have that? You know?
It's a huge benefit.
A huge benefit. And it's fun to sit at those conferences and talk about this program, and then they're calling me and like, okay, so how'd you get it set up, you know? So to see that in our small community and be able to offer that, especially with our young generation, with a change in our employment here in Boardman, our age seems to be dropping and dropping with the tech industry that we have coming in and stuff like that. So those people have never purchased, and so it's just a great incentive to drive people to Boardman, live, work, and play, and provide an opportunity for those people to get into those homes that they just don't have that money, that down payment money for that.
I try to tell everybody all about it, and sometimes they wonder if they're going to qualify. Or like, oh my gosh, no, let me help you with the process. If this is your first time and it's your primary household, let's go.
You qualify. There's no holding back. Right, exactly. So we've kind of just jumped all over. We're 15 minutes into this discussion. We could go on for hours probably, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So what are some other highlights you want to hit today? How about sellers?
Yeah, okay, so some of the feedback that we get from sellers right now is also they might still have some of the pandemic mindset where they think they've got all the cards in their hand and they get to run the show. So there's still some truth to that because we're in a seller's market just based on inventory levels. However, it's not exactly the same. And so we are trying to help educate everybody, buyers and sellers alike, that this is what the market looks like today. Okay, we can't necessarily worry about what happened in the past. Sellers need to be aware of what's on the market, what the real comp prices are, and where they might need to make some adjustments and negotiate a little bit. And that's to be.
Is that new for these people here recently?
Yes. Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
And thankfully, it's not as crazy for the agents and or the buyers. So we are definitely working on that. Just want to double check I didn't miss something here on that.
And I'm just checking. We are taking questions at this point in time. We don't have any yet, but I'm just throwing it out there. If anybody wants to send a question in on the chat box, you can send one in, and we will ask them as we're kind of wrapping up here. So projected growth data from county, how are those looking?
You know, I don't have that data yet.
Okay.
It wasn't available, unfortunately, but based on what we know with industry that's continuing to move here, also with the jobs that are currently available, I don't see any reason why this area is not going to continue to grow. I think there's still going to be a high demand for housing. And then also, I know sometimes people are concerned with what's going on in the economy, whether or not there's going to be another housing bust and a bubble. And right now, based on all of the data that's available from the economists and historical information, there's nothing in support of that. Lending practices are entirely different right now, and financing rules are very different. So also depending on the area that we're in, like I mentioned at the start, we live in an area with so much industry and agriculture that we tend to fare any kind of economic downturns.
We do.
Much more stable. So that's a really great opportunity for people to live here. Yeah. On that note too, so many people come to me and they see like some of our plans that are here and think, oh my gosh, this same home in Tri-Cities is $150,000 more expensive. Right. So it's really nice to be in this area where our economy is pretty stable and your home buying dollars go so much farther in Boardman.
It does.
And then you add on the grant program, and it's a really great place to invest, and equity continues to grow.
Yeah, it does. And the pandemic showed us stability of our area, truthfully. I think our growth and our busyness around here, I think, increased during the pandemic, where other communities surrounding us within 60 miles of us dang near came to a halt. And so we didn't. We I think it fast forwarded a lot for us. So that just shows the stability within Morrow County, definitely. So.
Yeah, it's really fun when people come to Boardman for the first time and they think, oh my gosh, I had no idea all this was here. And
No.
you just watch their eyes open and
Yes.
full of excitement and how awesome it is to be right on the river and the new development that's coming. And especially for like the Tidewater development, right there along the walking paths. And the disc golf and the marina is beautiful. Yeah. There's just so many great things.
There is so much, and so it's really exciting to see what we got coming on. So thank you guys today. Any questions that you have, you can always reach out to Leslie at her office. And how can they contact you?
Okay, so the easiest way is you can reach me by phone anytime, 541-561-0330. Send a text or call me. We have an office right here in town, which has been a huge blessing. We're at 202 North Main Street, Suite 15. Definitely give us a shout.
Right next to Banner Bank.
Yes, right between Banner and Sinclair there in the Boardman office complex. Which is also growing. Neat to see new vendors and stores in there.
To see.
Yeah, so feel free to reach out to me. Email is lesliepierson@windermere.com, and we have a whole host of agents throughout our region between Umatilla and Morrow County. If I'm not available to help you, I'll be sure to get you in touch with one of my colleagues who will do an outstanding job.
Perfect. Well, that's exciting. So I just want to say thank you again for joining me today. This is my fourth edition of my podcast, and we have another one coming up this Thursday. We have Enrique with Smith Security going to be joining me. We're going to be talking about security systems and installations and upgrades and stuff like that to a way to secure your property. So join us on Thursday at noon for another edition of the Chamber Talk with Torrie podcast. So thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you all the next time.
Thank you.